Good morning, Eastern Carolina. It's Friday, and we're going to continue with the weather pretty much that we've had all week. Goes into the weekend, although I think a little bit more cloud cover, especially Saturday into Sunday, than we've seen recently, and I'll explain why coming up here in just a minute. I'm tracking the continuation of this wet pattern for us here in Eastern Carolina. Again, just like we've seen all week, the heavy downpours, the potential for lightning, and we're also going to get the potential for some damaging wind gusts as well. And as this continues, not only just this weekend, but even until almost this time next week, I am going to be concerned about some flooding problems here. If you're going to be along the rivers, creeks, and streams this weekend, keep in mind some of them are fairly swollen. Not above flood stage yet, but at least they are fairly swollen. And also that's going to lead to some poor drainage area flooding around as well. But the question is, we all want to know, with the 4th of July now less than 7 days away, is it going to be fine for the 4th? We'll take a look at that forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Just again, as we've seen pretty much this entire week, the main threat that we need to alert you to is going to be from the potential of some heavy downpours. Also, I've kind of raised the wind damage threat here a little bit over yesterday, as we are starting to see some stronger winds in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere that potentially could have some problems. But again, just like we also saw the majority of this week, I am not concerned about tornadoes firing up for us here in Eastern Carolina. But the threats do stay in the medium category all the way through the weekend into early next week. Now, all this rainfall, you kind of start to think here as far as where do we stand to year-to-date rainfall-wise, or as far as this month is concerned, excuse me. Well, Greenville, we've seen about 5.5 inches of rainfall through midnight last night, almost 7 inches of rainfall in New Bern. And yeah, that's almost 3 inches above normal. But look at Beaufort. Now, we're getting a downpour down there now as we speak, but we're running about an inch below normal for the month. So there have been some spots like the further inland areas that have definitely been getting the rainfall, and there's been other spots that have not been. So keep that in mind as we go on through the next several days here. Here's your Storm Track 12 forecast. Some sunshine peeking out, especially inland areas, more clouds along the beaches, holding temperatures down into the mid-80s, but low 90s is where we're going to be for inland areas here with these storms developing late this afternoon. I think we'll break it down here for a little bit as to where we're going to be seeing the storms first. Then as we go overnight tonight, warm and humid with the scattered storms developing inland and eventually making the way towards the coast. Another warm, muggy night with temperatures into the 70s. And then as we head on through the day tomorrow, more cloud cover around, better chance of storms that'll be scattered about. And also we're going to be looking at slightly cooler temperatures for us here for tomorrow. All right, here's what we are tracking. It's a cold front working its way through the Ohio Valley, but we've got this rich surge of tropical moisture coming out ahead of it, and that's pretty much been in place now a week. We saw that system move in off of the Gulf Stream last Friday and Saturday, and as a result, this air mass is still in here, and guess what? We're actually going to reinforce this tropical air mass in here as we head on in through the weekend. Here's the reason why. Take a look at what the jet stream is going to be configured here. Now, we've been talking about this all week. Upper level ridge that was over us has now split into two, and it's going to be this one out here that's going to cause the problem as it actually migrates north and basically puts a roadblock from these storms able to go out into the Atlantic Ocean. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. We've got a shortwave trough that digs out across the eastern U.S., bringing slightly cooler air in with it. Also the impetus for the showers and storms, but because of this blocking going on out here in the Atlantic, we can't drive that cold front off the coast here. And as we take a look, you'll notice that the trough actually is forced to reform. Instead of being in southern Canada, it actually reforms back in here and goes down and towards the Tennessee Valley. And then that high, sitting out here in over the Gulf Stream, the Bermuda High, actually migrates north. So again, that's what is clogging up this weather pattern, creating a wall, not allowing this to go off. At the meantime, look where our air starts coming out of. Yeah, right out of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. That is going to be this corridor of warm, tropical, humid air that is going to be headed right into Eastern Carolina here as we go on in through this weekend and into early next week. And you'll notice the pattern actually starts to retrograde. The upper level high actually starts building back west. Now, that'll be good for us because it'll eventually be drier air into it. But out ahead of it, I mean, we've still got this rich feed of tropical moisture right out of the Gulf of Mexico, right out of the Caribbean. Showers and storms in the afternoon and evening hours here with the heavy downpours continuing for us. And that's why I am starting to get a little concerned. We could be looking at some flooding issues as we progress through the weekend going into next week. So here's how things play out. with future track. Showers and storms developing. Notice, along the sea breeze front up until noontime, and then again later this afternoon further inland along the I-95 corridor, and then those storms march eastbound here, even though the models aren't showing a whole lot going on here. I do think that we do see those storms come eastbound here. Rain overnight tonight, and then notice doesn't take too long before those storms get firing, especially along the coastal sections as we head on through the day tomorrow. Inland spots, not saying we're going to be completely dry, but less chance of rainfall for tomorrow, especially morning into the early afternoon hours. Maybe late in the afternoon we get the storms coming our way. Continuation with the rich tropical feed of moisture over us as we go through Sunday. Lots of cloud cover around, slightly cooler temperatures, heavy downpours, lots of lightning potentially. And then we continue with this inundation as we go through Monday and Tuesday. Again, I am starting to get concerned that we do have the potential for some minor flooding issues for us here in eastern Carolina as we progress on through the weekend going into next week. So keep it tuned right here. Ellen Baca will continue to keep you updated on how things are going to be playing out. If you're planning on heading to the beach tomorrow, temperatures are going to be making their way into the 80s. However, we're also going to be looking at the chance for more showers and storms, especially further inland than what we're going to be dealing with for deep inland spots. And then temperatures do remain on that humid side as the humidity levels do stay up, even though temperatures come back down into the mid-80s. Have yourself a good weekend. I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les Still.